Now we're about a week away from the NHL season officially starting. We have to figure out who's ready to put it all on the line to win the Stanley Cup. Who is willing to risk everything to take the Stanley Cup home for their team? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. NHL Heist is officially back. Teams are looking to rob each other, not only for their opponents' logos, but also their players. So without further ado, I think it's time for us to finally get into our first matchup. So the very first thing we have to do is spin our attacking team wheel. Which team is going to be attacking first? Well, it looks like it's going to be the New York Islanders. So there's going to be 31 different NHL teams for the New York Islanders to take on, and it looks like they're going to be facing off against the Calgary Flames. So two great teams are going to be battling it out here. Can the New York Islanders complete the heist and steal the Calgary Flames logo along with their best forward, defenseman, and goaltender? Or is Calgary going to prevent the heist, steal the Islanders logo in the process, and get their best forward, defenseman, and goaltender? Well, there's only one way for us to find out. Let's get into matchup number one. So here we go. It's our first matchup. The New York Islanders taking on the Calgary Flames. Jonathan Drouin's going to get the goal scoring started in the first period. Moving into the second, it is all Islanders right now. The Calgary Flames are doing absolutely nothing. They are not putting up the slightest fight whatsoever. And unless they score pretty quick, I'm going to say this game's over. Okay, yeah, this game's over. It's an absolute blowout. The New York Islanders are winning 6-0. That might be the most successful heist I've ever seen. So with that successful heist from the New York Islanders, they're going to be walking away with Mackenzie Weegar, Nazem Kadri, and Dustin Wolf. Three great upgrades for the team. I mean, Dustin Wolf's not going to be that much of an upgrade. He's just going to be a backup goaltender. But even still, Varlamov's going to be sent over to the Calgary Flames in order for us to get this done. The Islanders are going to complete the first successful heist, and now their team's looking elite. So our first team is going to be taken down. The New York Islanders are claiming a logo. Now there is going to be something different with NHL Heist this time around. With the Islanders claiming this logo, they're going to be moving on to round number 2. I don't want to just see one or two teams claiming all the logos. I want this to be even across the board. So the New York Islanders are going to be safe until round number 2, and round number 2 is going to be once half of our NHL teams are eliminated. Now what can I say? The Calgary Flames went out bad. Like, that team didn't score a single goal. Me personally, I wouldn't let that happen. The Buffalo Sabres are going to go on the attack next. Let's see if they're going to be able to pick up a goal or not. Now Buffalo's hoping that their heist is going to be as successful as the New York Islanders, but I highly doubt that, as they're going to be taking on the Florida Panthers. They're going to have their hands full with this one. Florida's ready to prevent that heist. They got some of the best defense you can imagine. Now Buffalo, all I can say is good luck. You're going to have your hands full with this matchup, but look at Kulich picking up the first goal of the game. Moving into the second period, it's going to be a scoreless one. Are we going to see our first major upset of the video? Potentially. Like, Buffalo has a 1-goal lead right now. I definitely wasn't expecting that. Not like the Buffalo Sabres are really doing it. Never mind. No, they aren't. Matthew Tkachuk's picking up a goal. They now have themselves a power play that they're not going to capitalize on. It's a tie game entering the final 2 minutes. Yeah, we have to jump into this one. It's a 1-1 game. We're entering the final minute. I never would have expected this, but here we are. Now, Connor Timmins, you are absolutely selling. What on earth are you doing, my guy? Buffalo is picking up a penalty. The Florida Panthers are going on a power play, entering the final minute. Nah, this is Buffalo Sabres fashion right here. Of course they're going to choke when it matters most. Connor Timmins, what are you doing? Bro is selling right now. Why are you tripping him in that position? I'm not going to lie, I think Buddy might have flopped a little bit there, but you can't give them that opportunity. Why are you doing that? Now, I might have to put a bit more respect on Buffalo's name, because when Connor Timmins took that penalty, I thought this game was over in regulation, but instead we're off to overtime. Florida's still going to have 50 seconds on the power play moving into overtime, but even still, I thought it was guaranteed that this game was going to be over in regulation. I guess not. Alright, plain and simple, I was sleeping on the Buffalo Sabres. I thought this game was going to be over in regulation. Then I thought this game would be over early in overtime. But instead, look at Buffalo putting on the pressure. Sergei Bobrovsky's making a big time save. The penalty is killed for the Buffalo Sabres. They really did that. Alright, the Florida Panthers are low-key selling this game. They just keep turning the puck over. They're not giving themselves any great opportunities. I thought Bro was about to allow that in the back net. I thought that was going to be the game winner for a second. That would have been some crazy work. Alright, overtime has been neutral zone hockey so far until this moment right here where Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is making the big save. Up until this point, they've been spending basically 90% of the time in the neutral zone. Nobody's really had any elite chances. But since we finally got a stoppage in play... Okay, why is Sam Bennett still on the ice? Bro is exhausted right now. He has zero energy. This man might have negative energy, but Florida's like, nah, I still need you on the ice. Like, this man actually has zero energy, and he is still on the ice. Florida is actually trying to sell this game. They're basically playing 2-on-3 right now because Sam Bennett has basically played 3 minutes straight. and this man's somehow going to score the winner, isn't he? He's not going to score the winner, but now the Buffalo Sabres are going the other way. Jason Zucker's bringing the puck in. He's looking to create a little bit of space, and he did not do that whatsoever. Bro, what kind of move was that? I don't know if you thought you were him. You were certainly not. So we're down to the final 10 seconds. A shot's going to go wide of the net. Evan Rodriguez is picking up, and he's turning on the Jets. He has a breakaway here. Why would you pass it to Sam Reinhart? I have no clue. But can Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen keep the puck out of the net? Yes, he can. I thought Ryan McLeod was going to accidentally knock that into his own net. That's not going to be the case. It's going to be a scoreless overtime. So now we're off to an 18-round shootout. I am so happy. I'm not going to lie, if Barkov scores here, it will actually be a miracle. I would be amazed if he scored. He did. He scored with the backhand. I shouldn't be surprised that he went to the backhand. I'm just more surprised that he actually scored here. He's going to beat Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Very rarely do you ever see goals scored in the shootouts. Normally you get to round 18 and only one goal has been scored by each team. But with that big time Barkov goal right there, we're entering round number 3. Owen Power is going to be the next shooter, and he has to score for the Buffalo Sabres. What are the odds he doesn't even get a shot off? I guess he did get a backhander off, but it doesn't really matter. Bobrovsky's making the save. They're taking down the Buffalo Sabres. Buffalo put up a way bigger fight than expected. I'll put a bit of respect on their name, but at the end of the day, you still lost, and that means you're going to have a handful of players changing teams. So Florida, congrats on the win. Rasmus Dahlin, Tage Thompson, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen are all going to be joining the team. You're going to have to give up Tarasov in the trade, but I think you're perfectly fine with that. 3 great players for the Florida Panthers. If this team wasn't strong enough, now they're even better. It was a tough fight for the Buffalo Sabres. I'll put a little bit of respect on their name. Even though Florida had some great security, the heist was well planned out. You just weren't ready for the shootout, plain and simple. So Florida's going to prevent the heist, and in the process, they're going to be stealing the Buffalo Sabres logo. What can I say? It was a better matchup than I was expecting. I really thought that was going to be an 8-0 victory for the Florida Panthers, but Buffalo stood on business. Toronto, let's see if you can do what Buffalo couldn't and complete the heist. I mean, the one good thing is you don't have to worry about taking on Florida when it comes to this heist. Instead, you're going to be taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. So Toronto's looking to do what the Buffalo Sabres couldn't and complete the heist. Meanwhile, Columbus is looking to replicate the success of the Florida Panthers. And so far, they're doing a pretty good job of that, picking up the first 2 goals of the game. But Nick Robertson would respond a couple seconds later. All 3 of these goals came within 1 minute of each other. That's kind of wild. Moving into the second period, it's going to be a scoreless one. We haven't seen any scoring since basically the 17-minute mark of the first period. It's been really quiet ever since. But it looks like that's going to be changing. Dakota Joshua is going to be picking up a big-time goal on Jet Greaves. We have a tie game entering the final 5 minutes. There's lots of time for another goal, but I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing one, so we might be off to overtime once again. We're entering the final 32 seconds. I think it's time for us to jump in. Basically, all I'm asking for here is not another shootout. I can't handle another shootout. Now, before we head to overtime, Austin Matthews is going to give his team one great look. He's going to have a chance here. Buddy would have shot that about 18 feet wide of the net. That wasn't even close to hitting Jet Greaves. He didn't even have to worry about making a save because it wasn't going to be anywhere near him. We're down to the final 3 seconds. William Nylander's not going to get a shot on net, so we're off to overtime. But Matthews, what was that chance? Buddy, that was going straight into the corner. Look at this shot from Matthews. It was not going to be close. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. So we have back-to-back matchups going to overtime. Some nice 3-on-3 overtime. I'm just hoping this one can be ended in overtime, and it looks like it might be. Kirill Marchenko is going to have himself an opportunity, but Austin Matthews is going to get back. Brandon Carlo, you better not turn the puck over like that again. Now, Brandon Carlo is looking to make some moves. He's going to try to dish that up to Matthews. What an amazing pass from Brandon Carlo. Yeah, that doesn't happen without that pass from Carlo. I don't even care that Matthews is scoring the winner. What an elite pass from Brandon Carlo. Not too many in the NHL can make that pass. Bro's just built like that one. The best in the game. Put respect on his name. Now, just because of the way things are working with the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're only going to be receiving 2 upgrades, Zach Werenski and Marchenko, because Toronto actually has 2 better goaltenders than Jet Greaves. They have Joseph All and they have Stolars, so there's no point in downgrading their goaltending tandem. They're just going to stick with what they have. So another team is going to be falling, and it's kind of wild that all 3 teams that have lost so far all came from the top row. The Buffalo Sabres, Calgary Flames, and Columbus Blue Jackets. 3 of the teams on the top row are already eliminated. I don't know how that's worked out that way, but you know what? It is what it is. So another team has been eliminated in the Columbus Blue Jackets. It was a great heist from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Colorado's looking to replicate that success. So Colorado's got an important heist to plan out, but they have to figure out who they're going to be planning the heist on, and it looks like that's going to be on the Anaheim Ducks. Now, if there were to be a favorite in this matchup, I think it's safe to say that's going to be the Colorado Avalanche. And Nathan McKinnon's going to get the goal scoring started off in the first period as he's picking up the lone goal. Moving into the second, it's going to be a scoreless one. Outside of the first game, all of them have actually been very good defensively defensively, and it's a little bit surprising. Now we're about halfway through the third period. Logan O'Connor is going to be picking up a big goal for the Colorado Avalanche. The Anaheim Ducks are yet to score a goal in this game, and I have a feeling they're not going to be scoring one, so we're just going to simulate the rest of the game. A 2-0 shutout from the Colorado Avalanche. They're going to be completing a successful heist, and the Anaheim Ducks are going to be eliminated. Also want to point out, this is another team on the top row. That is crazy work. Now, unlike the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Colorado Avalanche are going to receive 3 players. Mikael Granlund, Jacob Trouba, and Lucas Dahlstrom are all going to join the team. Lucas Dahlstrom is just going to be joined to be the backup. He's going to be the backup behind Mackenzie Blackwood. They're rocking an 86 and 85. That's not too bad of a goaltending tandem. Now, with that Colorado win, one team from the top row will be moving on to the second round. So far, 4 of them have been eliminated, though, and in reality, that makes absolutely no sense. How have the first 4 teams that have lost all come from the top row? Like, these teams are in alphabetical order. Somehow teams at the start of the alphabet are seeing no success except for Colorado. So we've been seeing some great defensive masterclasses so far, but I don't want that to continue. I want to see somebody score 8 or 9 goals in a game. I want one absolute blowout. And Washington, I know you have the offense, so let's see if you can do that. Now let's see if the Washington Capitals are going to be taking on a great defensive team or not. They're going to be taking on the Detroit Red Wings, and I definitely wouldn't call the Detroit Red Wings a great defensive team, but you know what? I think they can hold their own. So is this going to be another defensive masterclass, or are we going to see some crazy offense in this one? Well, both teams are going to be picking up 1 goal in the first period. Moving into the second, Alex DeBrincat's going to double down. He's picking up the second goal for the Detroit Red Wings. They have a 2-1 lead entering the third period, but there's still lots of hockey to be played. But maybe not as much as I thought, because Mo Sauer's picking up a big time third period goal. The Red Wings have a 2-goal lead. Washington better respond pretty quick. And the Capitals just aren't going to be able to do that. Rasmussen's picking up a big time goal for the Red Wings. It's going to be a massive 4-1 victory for them, and the Capitals are going to be falling, and they're going to be losing a handful of key pieces. So here's what the upgrades for the Red Wings are going to be looking like. Ovi, John Carlson, and Logan Thompson are all going to be switching teams. That means Ovi and Dylan Larkin are going to be manning that top line together. I'm expecting big things from them. So that was a big win from the Red Wings. I certainly wasn't expecting them to be the winners in that matchup. I thought Washington was going to be able to hold it down, but apparently not. They're going to be walking away with 3 new players on top of a new logo added to the collection. Now, although we're only 5 matchups in, a lot of teams are looking very different. With the teams that have added new players, they've added some significant upgrades to the team. Meanwhile, Montreal, they're looking to be that next team to add some upgrades. So let's spin this wheel right here and figure out who the Montreal Canadiens are going to be taking on. Well, it looks like they're going to be facing off against the Winnipeg Jets. And if you don't know about the Winnipeg Jets in NHL 26 or NHL 25 or NHL 24 or basically any NHL game, for some reason, this team is elite. Yeah, like I really don't know what it is. The Winnipeg Jets in every NHL game are elite. It doesn't matter who they have on their team, they're elite. 4 goals in the first period, a power play goal, a shorthanded goal, and 2 other goals. This game's over. They're beating the Montreal Canadiens 7-2. They dominated this game from start to finish. Yeah, that was just utter domination from the Winnipeg Jets. Like, Montreal really didn't stand a chance. So Nick Suzuki, Lane Hudson, and Monty, all of you guys are going to be sent over. Technically, we could go with Noah Dobson, but they're both 88 overalls. Noah Dobson hasn't even played a game for the Montreal Canadiens, so we're going with Lane Hudson. Now, I knew the Winnipeg Jets were elite. I just didn't know they were that elite. 7 goals against Montreal? No, they didn't even put up a fight. So whichever team is planning a heist next, y'all better do it a lot better than the Montreal Canadiens. Like, they did nothing against the Winnipeg Jets. Nashville's going to be on the attack next. They better be cooking something up. Now, whichever team is defending the heist, just do exactly what the Winnipeg Jets did. New Jersey, replicate everything that the Winnipeg Jets did, and you'll win this matchup. So let's see if this matchup is going to be a little bit closer. I'm hoping it is. I don't want to see blowouts like that. Granted, not that long ago, I was asking for a game like that. I was asking for somebody to score like 9 goals. And you know what? That was close enough from Winnipeg. Each team's going to be picking up 2 goals in the first period. Moving into the second, it's going to be another 2 goals from the New Jersey Devils. They have a commanding 2-goal lead, but that can vanish pretty quick. And just like that, Eric Hall is picking up a big goal, and now we're back to a 1-goal game. But the real question is it going to be staying a 1-goal game? We're entering the final couple minutes in this one. Nobody is picking up a late goal, except there will be a late goal. Connor Brown and Jack Hughes are picking up back-to-back goals. It's a big victory for the New Jersey Devils because they're going to be adding some new players to the team. So with that Nashville loss, Roman Josi, Philip Forsberg, and UC Saros are all going to be joining the New Jersey Devils. Jacob Markstrom's going to be staying on the team, but unfortunately, St. Louis Blues legend Jake Allen is going to be sent over to the Nashville Predators. Your time in New Jersey will never be forgotten. So New Jersey is going to be capturing a logo, and they're going to be moving on to the second round. 3 players from the Nashville Predators are going to be joining the team. New Jersey's one team I definitely wouldn't want to be sleeping on right now. Now, I'm not going to lie, we haven't seen a successful heist in a while. It's time for somebody to figure it out. Ottawa, lock in. I need to see somebody win a heist. I don't want to see any more attacking teams get caught. So let's first figure out who the Ottawa Senators are going to be playing their heist against. It's going to be against the Chicago Blackhawks. Realistically, y'all should win this pretty easily. Now I want to see the Ottawa Senators lock in here. I want to see them pick up a win. Never mind. I guess every team moving forward that's planning a heist is going to fail at that. The Chicago Blackhawks have a 2-goal lead entering the third period. What are the Senators doing? Well, they're making a comeback. That's what they're doing. But maybe the comeback's not going to happen. Connor Bedard and Lucas Reichel are picking up back-to-back goals. We're entering the second half of the third period, and I can't see the Ottawa Senators making this comeback. They're going to be falling 4-1. That's a tough luck for them. Now, this is certainly not the outcome I was expecting, but Tim Stützle, Jake Sanderson, and Linus Ullmark, all of you guys are being shipped over to the Chicago Blackhawks. Soderblom, you're going to be sent over to Ottawa. They really lost that game. That is crazy work. Now, I guess a successful heist will never happen again. The Chicago Blackhawks are taking down the Ottawa Senators. Apparently, nobody is good at planning heists anymore. I don't know what happened to the league. Like, there used to be some elite heists we were seeing in the NHL. Now we're not seeing that anymore. The Philadelphia Flyers have some high expectations. You have to win the game. That's what the expectations are. So Philly, can you do what basically everyone else hasn't been able to do and win a game? Well, I'm not too sure because you have to go against the Vegas Golden Knights and they're pretty solid. Now Philly, you know what you have to do. Just outscore the Vegas Golden Knights, win this game, and you've successfully completed a heist. Trevor Zegras is picking up the first goal of the game. This is a great start. Moving into the second period, this is a terrible second period. Tomas Hertl, Pavel Dorfia, they're picking up back-to-back goals for the Vegas Golden Knights. Philly, this is not what you want to be doing. Luckily, the Philadelphia Flyers have found their saviors. Christian Dvorak and Sean Couturier are picking up back-to-back goals. They have a 1-goal lead entering the final 5 minutes, but can they hold on to that 1-goal lead? Well, we'll have to find out in the final minute. There's a minute 24 left in this game. Can the Philadelphia Flyers hold on, or is Vegas going to make the late comeback? Now, one thing that we're certainly going to have to watch for in this game is empty net goals. There is a chance that we see an empty net goal scored by the Philadelphia Flyers, and I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas pulled their goaltender pretty quick. We've entered the final minute. They're not going to be doing that. Trevor Zegras is bringing the puck in, but he is going to be absolutely rocked, and now Noah Hannafin's going the other way. We're down to the final 50 seconds. Vegas still hasn't pulled their goaltender. I don't really know what the plan is here. You got to pull Adin Hill eventually, and I have no clue when you're going to be doing that. You're down to the final 40 seconds. I think they're selling. These boys are really selling. A big slap shot towards the net. Adin Hill's going to be making the save. 34 seconds left. What's the plan here? So Vegas, what's the plan here? We're down to the final 30 seconds. You still haven't pulled Adin Hill. I'm assuming you're going to do so right here. I don't know how that wasn't offside, but you know what? We're not going to question it. Erisson's going to be making the stop. I swear that was offside. I might be tripping though. So I am 1000% not tripping. That was definitely offside. Like, this was offside by like a good 6 inches. But you know what? We're just going to let it slide. Now, what are we doing here, EA? That was offside, and he was offside by like a good 6 inches. Are you telling me we can't figure out what onside and offside is now? Nah, this is getting a little bit stupid. So after a missed call, the Vegas Golden Knights are going to have the goalie pulled. They're in the offensive zone. Bobby Brink's got the loose puck. Now Zamula has it. Can he bury this one into the empty net? And can we end this game right here? Nope, he's going to shoot about 18 feet wide of the net. But luckily, Owen Tippett's going to be right there. He's going to put this one in the back of the net. How did we miss that offside call though? Like, seriously, how did we miss that? This is a video game. I feel like if anything, the video game should be perfect for onside and offside, because you should just have it programmed so it's that way. The refs should know when a player is on or offside, and somehow they're missing calls. I don't really have too much to say. The Vegas Golden Knights are going to be dropping this game. But how do you miss that call? No, like, I'm really not going to get over that missed call. How on earth are we missing offside calls in a video game? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Jack Eichel, Noah Hannafin, Adin Hill, all of you guys are going to be switching teams. Dan Vladar, you're going to be sent over to Vegas. But they missed an offside call. Like, how does that happen? So the Philadelphia Flyers are going to complete a successful heist, something we haven't seen in a long time. And not only were they going against the Vegas Golden Knights in that game, they were also going against the refs. Because I will never get over that call. That is wild. Like, we're talking about a video game that should be programmed so they know what's onside and offside. And they got it wrong. I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how that happened. but we're not going to worry about it too much anymore. We have to move on to our next matchup, and that one's featuring the St. Louis Blues, so we got to be focused on my boys and how they're going to lose this game, because we all know St. Louis is going to be losing this matchup. Like, we already know what NHL 26 thinks of my St. Louis Blues. We know what NHL 25 thinks of my St. Louis Blues, and we get to go against Thatcher Demko. Boy, aren't we lucky. All right, so how are my St. Louis Blues going to get let down today? Are we going to dominate through the first 2 periods, then lose in the third period? Well, it looks like that's what's going to happen. Nathan Walker and Dylan Holloway are picking up goals in the first period. Moving into the second, Connor Garland's going to be picking up a goal. So the third period is going to be the fall off for my boys. Who could have seen that one coming? Now we just have to wait, because the fall off isn't going to be coming at the beginning of the third period. Actually, we have to score this power play goal first. We need to score this power play goal before the fall off actually happens, but maybe there is going to be one. The St. Louis Blues are actually going to win a game here. They're going to win in a challenge video on the Stick on the Ice channel. It almost brings a tear to your eye. So with that St. Louis Blues victory, Quinn Hughes, Thatcher Demko, and Elias Pettersson are all going to be joining the team. We have a new starting goaltender. We have a new number 1 defenseman. These are going to be some great upgrades for the Blues. However, we're losing Joel Hofer in the deal, and I don't know how I feel about that. You know what? I think I'll be able to survive without Joel Hofer, because at the end of the day, we walked away with Thatcher Demko, and Thatcher Demko is him, plain and simple. So we only have 6 more matchups left before we're done with round number 1. And it looks like our next attacking team is going to be the Minnesota Wild. So Minnesota, what do you know about pulling off Heist? We're going to spin the wheel, and your Heist is going to be against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh is definitely a better matchup than the Tampa Bay Lightning, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy on you guys. Now Minnesota's not really the only one completing a heist right now, because so is Kirill Kaprizov. This man really rejected like $16 million a year. That is crazy work. Z Boyum's picking up the first goal of the game, but it's not going to be the only goal, because Minnesota's picking up 3 goals in the first period. Moving on to the second, they're picking up another goal, and in the third period, what are they going to do? Nothing. But it doesn't really matter, because they're still going to be winning this game 4-1. But the real thing we have to talk about, Kirill Kaprizov rejecting that bag, if he actually got offered that bag, because we have to remember Frank Saravelli reported it, and bro is wrong like 85% of the time. Also, I highly doubt Kirill Kaprizov rejected $16 million, and if he did, he just doesn't want to be in Minnesota. Simple as that. But you know what? This video isn't about Kirill Kaprizov trying to pull off heists and get $20 million a year. This is about these NHL teams and figuring out which is the best. Pittsburgh is going to be eliminated, and it's time for us to move on to our next matchup. So we're down to the final 5 matchups of the first round. Who's going to be on the attack next? A team that has made to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals and lost both times. Granted, they have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, and with those 2 guys, you're always going to be competing. Now, when it comes to NHL Heist, they don't have to worry about taking on the Florida Panthers, but instead, they're going to match up against the Boston Bruins. And although the Boston Bruins might not be the greatest team based on what happened last season, don't sleep on them. They have Charlie McAvoy, they have David Pastrnak, they got Jeremy Swayman, and y'all have Stuart Skinner. So yeah, this could go either way. Now this game is decided by Stuart Skinner. Is he going to perform in this one, or is he just going to completely fold? Elias Lindholm is picking up the first goal of the game, and Nisimon's picking up the second goal of the game. You know what? I'm not even going to bother jumping into the third period. I think we know how this game is going. The Boston Bruins are going to shut them out. They're winning 3-0. And you know what, Skinner? I'm not even going to put all the blame on you here. Edmonton didn't score a single goal. So even if you've made 35 saves on 35 shots, you still wouldn't have won this game. You would have had to go to overtime. So Skinner, surprisingly, you're actually not going to catch a lot of the blame here. So Edmonton, y'all did nothing in that game. Connor McDavid, Evan Bouchard, and Stuart Skinner are all going to be switching teams. We're going to see a first line of Connor McDavid and Pasta. No, they might run the league now. So Edmonton, you went out bad. What can I say? Y'all didn't even score a single goal. There's only been 3 teams so far that haven't scored goals. The Calgary Flames, y'all, and I don't remember the other one. I actually forget who else didn't score goals. That might have been the Anaheim Ducks. All I know is there's 3 teams who have been shut out, and y'all shouldn't have been one of them. Now this next team planning the heist is looking to get back for the Edmonton Oilers. They're not looking to get shut out like the Oilers did. They're looking to pick up some goals, and they're looking to pick up a lot of goals. So let's see what the New York Rangers can do. So the Rangers have a chip on their shoulder because of what happened to the Edmonton Oilers. So Dallas, y'all better be ready because they're about to lock in. So the Rangers don't want to get shut out like the Edmonton Oilers did. They want to score some goals in this matchup, and they want to win. When it comes to the first period, it's going to be a scoreless one. Moving into the second, we're going to be exchanging goals. Jamie Benn and Will Cooley are picking up goals for their respective teams, and now we're off to the third period. The third period is going to have to decide this one. We're going to have a close finish. Now, Matt Duchene is going to be giving the Dallas Stars the 1-goal lead. He's picking up a big-time power play goal. Dallas is getting another power play, but they're not going to be capitalizing on that one. We've entered the final minute in this one, or at least we've entered the final minute now. A minute 33 left in this game. Let's see if the Rangers can make the comeback. Now, after picking up the most important goal and giving his team the lead, what is Matt Duchene going to do immediately after that? Well, he's going to pick up a stupid interference penalty, and he's going to give the New York Rangers a power play. What was bro cooking up? Now, it might be hard to tell that the New York Rangers are actually on the power play here because the Dallas Stars are putting it to them. These guys cannot get anything going, but look at Panarin, a quick release shot into the back of the net. He's going to be tying this game up, but there is still a minute left in this game. It seems like we're off to overtime right now, but we might not be. Also, I don't know why they gave Panarin so much space. Like, they did not pick him up whatsoever. They just said, you know what, come on, skate through the defense. We're not going to put a body on you. But there's still a minute left in this game, so we might not be off to overtime quite yet. Now, neither team was able to pick up a goal in the dying seconds of this one, so we're off to overtime in a 2-2 tie. The New York Rangers and Dallas Stars are going to see some 3-on-3 action. We're about to watch some fast-paced hockey. Now, overtime has officially started, and Adam Fox is immediately turning it over. Jason Robertson is also going to turn it over. I guess it's just a turnover masterclass right now. What was that? What did I just witness? Jason Robertson's going to be scoring the winner, but what kind of a game was that? What kind of overtime did I just witness? Nah, what are we doing here? Now, that was an incredibly stupid ending, but whether it was stupid or not doesn't change the fact that Igor Shesterkin, Artemi Panarin, and Adam Fox are all going to be switching teams. These are 3 huge upgrades for the Dallas Stars. Now, there was certainly a lot of questionable passes made in overtime. Like Jason Robertson, I have no clue how you ended up being the guy scoring the OT winner after that first pass you made, because you just completely turned it over, gave the Rangers an amazing opportunity, but then they turned it over. It was turnover on turnover until you scored that winner. I definitely didn't expect the Dallas Stars to win after that Jason Robertson turnover, and I definitely didn't expect him to be scoring the winner. That was some wild work. Now, with that turnover, the Rangers aren't going to be able to complete a successful heist. Things aren't looking good for the Utah Mammoth. Like, a lot of teams have been failing heists today. They're looking to change that trend. Meanwhile, when it comes to the 5 defending teams, they're hoping trends stay the exact same. Seattle's looking to shut down Utah. So Utah, you have to do what the previous teams haven't been able to do and complete the heist. And you're not off to a great start as Seattle's picking up the first 2 goals of the game. Make that the first 3 goals. Make that the first 4 goals. You're being shut out. Yeah, there's nothing I can say. You guys went out bad. All right, so Utah, definitely not off to the start that you were hoping for. You're going to be eliminated in matchup number 1. Clayton Keller, Sergachev, and Vejmelka are all going to be switching teams. When it comes to the goaltender from Seattle leaving, that's going to be Matt Murray. So Utah's getting shut out just like the Edmonton Oilers. They're going to be joining the exclusive club of teams that have been shut out in this video, and that's not a club you want to be a part of. So we have 4 more teams that need to be involved in matchups, and it looks like our next team is going to be the San Jose Sharks. Now, San Jose, I can't even expect you to win a heist at this point, but if you score 1 goal, I'll give it to you. That means you have done better than 2 of the previous 3 teams we've seen. So San Jose, you don't even have to complete a heist here. You don't even have to steal Tampa Bay's logo. All you have to do is score 1 goal. If you score 1 goal, you're basically outperforming a handful of teams. But right now, you are not scoring 1 goal. There is no way you guys get shut out as well. That is crazy work. 3 of the last 4 teams that tried to complete a heist all got shut out. I don't know what's going on with the NHL, but apparently nobody can score anymore except for defending teams. So Macklin, Celebrini, Dmitry Orlov, and Askarov are all going to be switching teams. They're joining the Tampa Bay Lightning. Those are going to be a couple nice upgrades for Tampa Bay. Truthfully, I don't care about who wins our next matchup. I just want to see the team that's trying to complete a heist actually score a goal. Like, these teams are supposed to be putting pressure on each other. They're supposed to be risking it all to prove that they're the best teams in the entire league. Meanwhile, during all of this, 3 of the last 4 attacking teams have been shut out. Like, that's just absurd. Now we're down to our final 2 teams of round number 1. It looks like the LA Kings are going to be on the attack while Carolina's going to be defending. So it's the final matchup of round number 1. Who's going to be walking away with an upgrade and who's going to be walking away with some new players? Well, the LA Kings are going to get the goal scoring started. 2 goals in the first period. Moving into the second, Seth Jarvis is going to be responding. So we're not going to see a shutout in this game, but instead I think we're going to have a close finish. Now, not only is this going to be a close finish, but the LA Kings actually might pull off a successful heist. We're entering the final moments in this one. LA, all you have to do is play great defense for a couple minutes. And when I say a couple minutes, I mean literally a couple seconds. Like, play great defense for 120 seconds, and you're going to be walking away with some upgrades. Okay, not quite 120 seconds, more like 45 seconds, but you get the point. Now, we're entering the final couple seconds. Kevin Fiala has a chance to bury this one, but he's going to... No way. No, that did not happen. I refuse to believe that just happened. He passed it over to Kopitar. A respectful move. Allow Kopitar to bury this one because he's going to be retiring at the end of the season. And Kopitar, how did did you repay that man? You rung it right off the post. You're telling me from this far away, you're going to ring it off the post. Like, yes, there's two defensemen, so there is a little bit of pressure. But Kopitar, look at that wide open net. You have a clear shot at the net, and you are going to ring it off the post. I almost want to say LA loses because of that. I want to say there's no winning team because of that. A wide open net, and you rung it off the post. I mean, at the end of the day, the LA Kings are still winning, but how on earth did you hit the post? So the LA Kings can receive a nice handful of upgrades, Aho, Slavin, and Freddie Anderson, but there is just no way that man rung the post. Like, that really happened. He had a wide open net, and Kopitar couldn't bury it. He just had to hit the post. Like, the Carolina Hurricanes might have put on some pressure late in the third period, but all of that was overshadowed because Kopitar hit the post. So with that successful LA Kings heist, the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be eliminated, and we're officially halfway through. Round number 1 is now complete, and we're down to our final 16 teams. So we've officially moved on to round number 2. 16 teams remain, and the New York Islanders are going to be our next attacking team. Never mind, it's going to be the Seattle Kraken. I honestly thought we were going to be landing on the Islanders, apparently not. So let's figure out what our first matchup of round number 2 is going to be. We know the Seattle Kraken are attacking, and it looks like they're going to be taking on the Dallas Stars, not the St. Louis Blues. We could have had some very different matchups, but we're not seeing those different matchups. This is the matchup we're seeing, Seattle versus Dallas. So we have two great teams going at it. Both these teams have been improved, and let's see if it's going to be enough. Well, Jason Robinson and Miro Heist going to pick up the first 2 goals. Why on earth is Joey Daccord not the starting goaltender? What are we doing here? Vince Dunn's going to be responding in the second period. No, what are we talking about? Why is Joey Daccord not the starter? This might end up being a Mickey Mouse win for the Dallas Stars. Joey Daccord's not in between the pipes. They're going to be running Vejmelka. Maybe Vejmelka's a higher overall. I'm pretty sure he isn't. These are the head coach preferred lines. Wyatt Johnston's picking up a goal with 54 seconds left in this game. Why is Joey Daccord not playing? Like, he's still on the team, correct? Yeah, Joey Daccord is still here. They just elected to not play him. That is an interesting decision. I guess Joey Daccord and Vejmelka are technically the same overall. They're both 85s. For some reason, I thought Joey Daccord was an 86 overall. I guess that's not the case. So yeah, Vejmelka, you getting the start here kind of makes a little bit of sense, I guess. Like, you're both 85 overalls. I guess you're fine either way. Now, 3 players are going to be brought in from the Seattle Kraken. However, they have to be coming from the Seattle Kraken. Clayton Keller and Sergachev, they're originally from Utah, so it doesn't make sense for them to be joining the Dallas Stars. So who are we going to see? Vince Dunn, Jared McCann, and that's it. They don't need another goaltender. They got Shesterkin. They have the Otter. They have a pretty solid goaltending tandem they can run. Now, that was certainly an interesting matchup between the Seattle Kraken and Dallas Stars, but the Dallas Stars are going to be coming out on top, and they're going to be advancing to round number 3. Now, running Vejmelka over Joey Daccord was definitely a decision. Like, Joey Daccord was your starter when you won your first game against Utah. You turned your back on Joey Daccord and went with the goaltender that ended up losing his first round matchup. I don't know, something about that just doesn't seem right. The Winnipeg Jets are about to beat somebody. Who is it going to be? Like, we all know how elite the Winnipeg Jets are. No matter who they take on, they're going to be dominating. Detroit, you better pack your bags because you're about to be losing. Now, Detroit, you better be ready for the greatest team of all time. The Winnipeg Jets are going to put a lot of pressure on you guys. Winnipeg and Detroit are going to be exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, once again, they're going to be exchanging goals. So it looks like the third period is going to decide this one, or maybe even overtime. Now, I'm starting to think that we're going to need overtime in this matchup. We're entering the final 5 minutes. Winnipeg's not going to be able to capitalize on the power play, but JVR is picking up a huge goal for the Detroit Red Wings. They have a lead. Never mind, that lead is gone. Adam Lowry is going to be responding. We have a tie game entering the final minute. I thought that JVR goal is going to be the difference. Apparently not. Now, the final couple seconds of regulation was really quiet, unless Kyle Connor scored right there. Then it would have been interesting, but he's not going to be, so we're off to overtime. Now, we're about to reach the final minute in overtime, but Josh Morrissey is going to be turning on the Jets and beating Lucas Raymond to the puck. He's going to dish over to Nick Suzuki, and Suzuki's going to be ending this one. He's going to find the back of the net in overtime. Nick Suzuki, the hero for the Winnipeg Jets, and they're going to be taking down the Detroit Red Wings and advancing. Now, Nick Suzuki, you might not be the hero on the Montreal Canadiens, but you're going to be the hero on the Winnipeg Jets. You're going to be picking up a big time goal. Dylan Larkin's now going to be changing teams, and Mo Sider's now going to be changing teams. And who else is going to be changing teams? Maybe Cam Talbot's changing teams. I actually don't know if he's a higher overall than Montemort. I don't really remember. They're the same overall. So yeah, they're just going to stick with Connor Hellebuyck and Monty. Mo Sider and Dylan Larkin, y'all are going to be changing teams though. So the Winnipeg Jets are going to be the next team moving on to round number 3. They're going to be taking down their second team, the Detroit Red Wings. They're going to be receiving 2 upgrades from that victory. I don't know, something about Winnipeg and NHL 26 seems a little bit suspect right now. Now, this next team is certainly not going to be as good as the Winnipeg Jets because they are the greatest team of all time. maybe I should take that back. We're seeing the Florida Panthers, and we all know what they're about. Now, the Florida Panthers are looking to continue their dominance heading into this next matchup. We have Florida versus Toronto. I think this is the last team Toronto wanted to see. Now, Toronto, you're going against the Ops. You get the Florida Panthers. I need you to step up. I also want to point out it's Toronto versus Florida in the second round, so I think we know what's going to happen. AJ Greer's picking up the first goal of the game. Moving into the second, it's going to be Sam Bennett. They have a 2-0 lead entering the third. Toronto, it's time for you to get your get back. We need you to get back in the third. Score on this power play and lead the comeback. You are not scoring on the power play. Y'all are going out bad. No, this team's really going out bad. They're about to get shut out here. That is tough. That is very, very tough. Florida's going to shut out the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's nothing else that has to be said. So if Florida wasn't strong enough, Austin Matthews is now going to be joining the team. Morgan Riley and Stolars are also going to be switching teams. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, you're going to be sent over to the Toronto Maple Leafs because Stolars is technically a better backup. Also, I want to point out Joseph Woll was the starter, so maybe I should bring Joseph Woll over. Granted, they're both 85 overalls, so it's the same difference. So in a second round matchup, the Florida Panthers are beating the Toronto Maple Leafs. Sometimes the jokes just write themselves. Now let's figure out if back-to-back teams can pull off some heists here. The Boston Bruins are going to be completing the next one. Let's see if they can see some success. I actually don't recall, would this be back-to-back successful heists or would this be 3 in a row? I don't think it really matters. The Boston Bruins are taking on the New York Islanders. Boston's looking to have a successful heist. The Islanders are looking to stop it. Now, if the Islanders want to win this matchup, Sorokin's going to have to be elite. He has to stop every shot that comes his way. And although he's not stopping every shot so far, they have exchanged goals through the first period. Moving into the second, David Pasternak's taking over. He's picking up back-to-back goals. The Islanders better score pretty quick. And you know what? That's exactly what they're doing. Siplikov's picking up a quick goal, but Tanner Janot is going to be responding. It's still a 2-goal game for the Boston Bruins. The Islanders offense has to wake up. And you know what? I have this slight feeling that the Islanders offense is going to wake up, so we're going to simulate the rest of this one, and the Boston Bruins are going to be taking it 4-2. Now, although the Islanders were able to shut out the Calgary Flames in matchup number 1, it just wasn't enough. So Bo Horvat, Adam Pelech, and Sorokin are all going to be switching teams. This is going to be a big-time upgrade for the Boston Bruins. I completely forgot they had Connor McDavid. No wonder they won. But yeah, Stuart Skinner, you're going to be banished over to the Islanders. 3 big-time upgrades for the Boston Bruins. They're one team you certainly can't sleep on moving forward. So not only have the Boston Bruins picked up Connor McDavid, now they're going to be picking up Sorokin. A couple big upgrades for this team. You can't be sleeping on the Bruins moving forward. So we're already halfway through our second round matchup, so it's time to get through the second half. The New Jersey Devils are going to be the next team planning a heist. Let's see if they can replicate the Boston Bruins' success. Now, there's not too many different teams for the Devils to take on, so let's figure out who it's going to be. It's going to be the Philadelphia Flyers, an all-Eastern Conference matchup. Now, Philly, although you've added some new players to the team, at the end of the day, you're still the Philadelphia Flyers, and you don't have a ton here. You're in the middle of a rebuild, so I'm not expecting you to do too much. However, you are exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, the Devils are going to be taking over with back-to-back goals. It's still a 1-goal game, though, so Philly can definitely make the comeback. If they are going to score a goal, though, they better do it pretty quick. We're entering the final 5 minutes, and they are yet to score a goal. Do we even bother jumping into this game? There's 51 seconds left. Let's see what the Philadelphia Flyers can do with that. So Philly has the net pulled. 25 seconds left in this one. They're getting the puck into the offensive zone. Noah Cates is looking for a little bit of space, and he's getting a shot on net. Luke Hughes is going to be collecting it over to Kovacevic. Kovacevic over to Philip Forsberg, and he's going to bury this one. Very rarely do we see empty netters like that, especially when they're not even in the offensive zone. Nah, Philip Forsberg's just like that. So with the Philadelphia Flyers following, Travis Konechny, Sanheim, and then one other player. Actually, probably not. Erson's not going to be sent over. It's just going to be Konechny and Sanheim. So both of them are going to be joining the New Jersey Devils. Those are going to be the only 2 upgrades they're receiving. Yeah, like I don't even know what I was talking about. Thinking about sending Ersson to the New Jersey Devils. They have Markstrom. They have UC Saros. Why on earth would I replace one of those guys with Ersson? We're not doing that. So 3 more heists have to be completed in round number 2, and the St. Louis Blues are looking to complete the next one. This team is either going to win or they're going to get embarrassed and no in between. Like, I know what NHL 26 thinks of my St. Louis Blues. They want us to lose to the Chicago Blackhawks. I can see it all happening. We are going to lose to the Blackhawks. We do not stand a chance. Alright, so I fully expect the Chicago Blackhawks to somehow score 7 goals in this game. They're not going to be scoring 7 goals in the first period, though. They're only going to be picking up 1. Moving into the second, it's going to be a scoreless one. We're really going to get let down in the third period. Actually, no, we aren't. We're going to score a goal in the third period. Chicago Chicago's going to pick up a late one, and then we're going to lose in overtime. So here we go. Elias Pettersson is picking up a third period goal. It's only a matter of time before Chicago scores one, and I don't even want to watch them score the regulation goal. We're just going to sit here until Chicago scores, then we're going to jump into it. Quinn Hughes just scored. There's not that much time left in this game. I saw that Tim Stützle goal, and I knew I had to immediately jump into this one to watch overtime, but Quinn Hughes is going to be picking up potentially the winning goal, or we're about to allow a goal in the final 30 seconds, one or the other. So Chicago is trailing by 1 goal. They're going to turn the puck over, and Jake Neighbors is immediately going into the offensive zone. We just have to waste time here, or score another goal. We can do that as well, but just mainly waste time. Do not allow a goal in the final 10 seconds. Jake Neighbors, do not turn the puck over. Just get the puck deep into the offensive zone, and we've won this game. Pius Suter's going to be bringing the puck in. Why did we pull the goaltender? You know what? I'm not going to question it. We did win this game, right? Yes, we did. Chicago must have taken a penalty. I wasn't really paying too much attention. All I know is the St. Louis Blues are winning this one. Shout out to Quinn Hughes. Without that late goal, we're not winning this one. So only 2 players are going to be switching teams from the Chicago Blackhawks. It's going to be Alex Vlasic and Connor Bedard. I did not realize these two were the 2 highest overalls on the team, an 88 and an 84. Yeah, Chicago is going to be bad this season, like incredibly bad. Now, I don't know how this is possible, but the St. Louis Blues have advanced to the 3rd round. I already know what's going to happen. The Blues are going to make it to the final and then lose by 8 or something. They just have to get my hopes up so high, make it to the final, and then completely collapse. Nah, but at the end of the day, shout out to Quinn Hughes picking up the biggest goal of all time. St. Louis isn't winning without him. Tampa Bay is going to be on the attack next, and this team is loaded from top to bottom. Now, the teams that have been trying to complete heists are on a little bit of a roll right now. Like, they just keep winning game after game. Colorado's looking to stop that trend. So Tampa Bay and Colorado, 2 great teams that are both improved. They've added a handful of players to the team, but which team is going to be stepping up when it matters? Nichushkin's going to be picking up the first goal of the game. Dmitry Orlov's going to be responding in the second period. It's a tie game entering the third. This one has to go to overtime. Like, these are just 2 great teams going at it. We need overtime for this one to be settled. And it seems like my overtime prediction is going to be right unless somebody scores, and that's what Brandon Hagel is going to be doing. He's picking up a late goal. 58 seconds left in this one. If Colorado wants to go to overtime, they're going to have to score pretty quick. So here we go. Marty Necas is flying into the offensive zone. He's trying to do absolutely everything he can, but it's just not going to be enough. Tampa Bay is going to be collecting the puck, and they're moving it up. What a nice pass. Kucherov, you can definitely score this one. If he missed that empty netter right there, I would have eliminated Tampa. And I'm not kidding. If Kucherov missed that empty netter, Tampa was moving on. But with Kucherov hitting that shot, they're going to be completing the heist, and they're moving on to the 3rd round. Now, if I had to pick 2 favorites moving into the 3rd round, it'd be the Boston Bruins and Tampa Bay Lightning, because Tampa's going to be picking up Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar, 2 huge additions to the team. Yes, the backup goaltending position is getting better, but who cares about your backup goaltender if your starter is 93 overall Vasilevsky? I think you're in a solid spot. So Colorado's logo is going to be heisted by the Tampa Bay Lightning. We are 1 matchup away from making it to the 3rd round. The only 2 teams left are going to be the Minnesota Wild and LA Kings. But the first thing we have to do is figure out which of these 2 teams is going to be completing the heist, and it looks like it's going to be the LA Kings. So the LA Kings are looking to complete a successful heist. Minnesota's looking to stay alive. Which of these 2 teams is going to be advancing to the 3rd round? Well, Sidney Crosby is going to be picking up the first goal for the Minnesota Wild. Moving into the second, Erik Karlsson is going to be picking up a goal for Minnesota. So the 2 Pittsburgh Penguins additions are definitely helping Minnesota, but they still only have a 1-goal lead. Now, after scoring a big power play goal, Kuzmenko is going to be responding, so we're back to a 1-goal game. LA's looking to capitalize on their power play, but they're not going to do that. Each team has been on the power play for 90% of the 3rd period, but now we're entering the final minute, and nobody's going to be on the power play here. We have 5-on-5 hockey for the final minute 29. LA's looking to tie this game up, while Minnesota's looking to advance. So Kopitar is bringing the puck into the offensive zone. Right now, this man is doing everything for the LA Kings. He's playing elite defense. He's battling in the corners. The only reason that LA is still in this game right now is because of Kopitar, but Sidney Crosby is going to get the puck up to Joel Erik's neck. He's going to have a great opportunity. Why do they always miss the empty net by so much? It's one thing to ring the post. It's another to be like a foot wide of the net. But 90% of these guys are missing by at least 10 feet. How on earth are you missing by 10 feet every time? Marco Rossi's eventually going to pick up the empty netter here, but still, why are we missing the empty net by that much? So with that final 2nd round matchup, the LA Kings are going to be falling to the Minnesota Wild. So that means Darcy Kemper, Drew Doughty, and Anze Kopitar are all going to be switching teams. They're going to be joining the Minnesota Wild, and they're going to help this team complete their run. So with the LA Kings heist being unsuccessful, they're going to be claimed by the Minnesota Wild, meaning we're down to our final 8 teams. The Boston Bruins, Dallas Stars, Florida Panthers, Minnesota Wild, New Jersey Devils, St. Louis Blues, Tampa Bay Lightning, and Winnipeg Jets. We have 8 teams remaining, but only one can be our champ. Now, each matchup moving forward is going to get shorter and shorter. Round number 3, it's not going to take us too long. The Boston Bruins are going to be the first team planning out a heist. Like, after round number 3, we're going to be down to 4 teams in round number 4, and then 2 teams in round number 5. The Winnipeg Jets are about to beat the boots off the Boston Bruins. Why did I say beat the boots off them? I have no clue. But that's what's going to happen. Now I can confidently say I have never said beat the boots off this team before. I have never used that terminology before until today's video. Of course, Dylan Larkin is scoring 21 seconds in. It only makes sense that the Winnipeg Jets are scoring 21 seconds into this game. They're going to absolutely dominate the second period. Why am I not surprised they're winning this game 6-2? So if the Winnipeg Jets weren't good enough, Dave Pastrnak, Charlie McAvoy, welcome to Winnipeg. Like, it doesn't make sense anymore. No, like, the Winnipeg Jets are really just built like that. Ever since beating my St. Louis Blues in the playoffs, this team absolutely dominates in all challenge videos, and I'm not for it. I definitely am not. And it's not even because I don't want to see the Winnipeg Jets have success. Let somebody else see success. Florida, you can lose just so somebody else will win. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to show up when the lights are the brightest and you're going to win all the important games, I can't be hating on you. We have an all-Florida matchup. The Florida Panthers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is going to be must-see hockey. So Tampa Bay versus Florida, 2 incredible teams. I'm expecting this to be a close game the entire way. Tampa Bay might be picking up the first 2 goals of the game, but Sam Reinhart's going to be responding with a power play goal of his own. Moving into the second period, Matthews would tie this game up, but Tampa's picking up back-to-back goals. They have a 2-goal lead entering the third. Tampa might be walking away with a victory here. And you know what? I think it's safe to say that's going to be happening. Anthony Cirelli's picking up a goal. Victor Hedman's picking up a goal. A 6-3 victory for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, I really want to say that this team is the favorite moving forward, but at the end of the day, the Winnipeg Jets are still around, and we can't sleep on them because for some reason they're favored in this game. Now, the amount of superstars the Tampa Bay Lightning have, it's a little bit ridiculous. Barkov, Bobrovsky, and Forsling are all joined the team. They have Kucherov, they have McKinnon, they have Makar, they have Barkov. What doesn't this team have right now? So with the Florida Panthers being eliminated, the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to join the Winnipeg Jets as the only team with 3 logos. 2 other teams are going to be joining them. We just don't know which teams those are going to be yet. So how about we go ahead and figure that out? Let's spin the heist wheel again, and the St. Louis Blues are looking to complete another heist. I never know what's going to happen with this team. Like, they can give me all the hope in the world, and then they will let me down with 1.6 seconds left. It's happened before. They're going to be taking on a Central Division rival in the Dallas Stars, so this should be a good one. So it's St. Louis versus Dallas. 2 great teams going at it, but who's going to... Nope. We don't need to watch the rest of this game. Nope. We don't have to watch the rest of it. You might not have saw what happened during the first period, but I did. And in case you didn't see, I don't want to click OK, but I will. Yeah, we're going to pretend this didn't happen. So yeah, we're not even completing that game. Robert Thomas, Colton Parayko, you're on the Dallas Stars now. Enough said. So let's just move this logo pretty quick and then move on to our final matchup of round number 3. So one more team is going to be moving on, but which team is going to be planning the heist? That's going to be the New Jersey Devils. So it's going to take me a while to get over that St. Louis Blues loss. Like, that was a tough one. Jesper Brad's picking up the first goal. Minnesota's picking up 3 straight goals in the second period. Yeah, I have nothing to say. Nothing to say whatsoever. 5 goals allowed in the first period. I don't even know what happened in the rest of the game. I didn't even simulate it. Minnesota's going to be winning this one. New Jersey would make a late comeback. Maybe I should have sat through the rest of this game. But at the end of the day, Minnesota's still going to be winning. But yeah, St. Louis allowing 5 goals in the first period. Nothing to say about that. So the New Jersey Devils are only going to be adding 2 players to the Minnesota Wild. Jack Hughes is going to be sent over and Dougie Hamilton is going to be sent over. Jacob Markstrom is going to end up being the exact same overall as Kemper, so there's no point in swapping those 2 guys. So Hughes and Hamilton, you're the only guys being sent over. So we're down to our final 4 teams, and I just want to point out the Dallas Stars, Minnesota Wild, and Winnipeg Jets are all from the Central Division, and that's because the Central Division right now is the best division in hockey. So let's just dive into round number 4, the final 4 teams. Who's going to be on the attack first? The Winnipeg Jets are looking to complete another heist. So far, they've been really successful, but things could potentially change. Because at the end of the day, if you want to make it into the final 4, you're going to have to be an elite team, and it looks like the defending team is going to be the Dallas Stars. So 2 Central Division powerhouses are going at it, the Winnipeg Jets and Dallas Stars. Who's going to find a way to win the most important game? Well, Kyle Connor and Fox are going to be exchanging goals in the first period. Moving into the second, Dallas is going to be taking over this one. They have a 1-goal lead entering the third period. period, just wait. Winnipeg's going to score like 3 goals here. But maybe not. Mikko Rantanen's picking up a big goal, but then Cole Perfet's responding. Here's the Winnipeg Jets comeback. And not too long later, Neil Pionk's picking up a goal, but Jason Robertson's going to be responding. It's still a 1-goal lead for the Dallas Stars. Maybe the Winnipeg Jets aren't going to be able to make the comeback. We're about to hit the final minute in this one. We have 47 seconds left, but Dallas just scored a late goal, so I don't think we have to jump into this one. Who ended up scoring that late goal? Jason Robertson picked up another one here, and that's going to be the difference. It's a 6-4 victory for the Dallas Stars. They're taking down the Winnipeg Jets, and the number 1 powerhouse is now down. So the Winnipeg Jets are finally down. The top team has been taken out. Connor Hellebuyck, Kyle Connor, and Josh Morrissey are all going to join the Dallas Stars. They're going to be joining for the final run this team goes on. They're advancing to the final. Now all we have to do is figure out who they're taking on. Is it the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Minnesota Wild? Before we move on though, let's make sure that the Dallas Stars get the Winnipeg Jets logo because they certainly earned it. So who's going to be the team completing the heist and who's going to be putting up the defense? Well, Tampa Bay's completing the heist, and that means Minnesota's going to be defending. So which of these two teams is going to make it to the final? Is it going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning or is it going to be the Minnesota Wild? Well, Tampa's going to come out flying. They're picking up 2 quick goals, but Matt Boldy would respond. Moving into the second period, Barkov's going to be picking up another one for Tampa. I think Tampa just has too much firepower, but then again, you can't sleep on the $17 million man Kirill Kaprizov. Yeah, I'm recording part of this video before he signed and part of this video after he signed. It's just the way it worked. So let's see if that $17 million man can pick up another goal. We're about to enter the final 44 seconds. It's actually 42 seconds, but that's neither here nor there. Minnesota has to pick up a quick goal. So this is a big offensive zone draw. Sidney Crosby's going to be taking it, and of course, he's going to win it, but they're going to turn the puck over. Nathan MacKinnon's collecting it. He's going to get the puck deep. He tried to do an alley-oop pass, and honestly, I think he might have been cooking there. Nathan MacKinnon, the 1000 IQ move there. Not only did it waste a lot of time, but they didn't get the icing called. The Tampa Bay Lightning are going to be taking down the Minnesota Wild. Nathan MacKinnon's high IQ move is going to be working out, and with that victory, they're going to be adding 3 more players to the team before they get to the final. So before we get to the final, Kirill Kaprizov has to switch teams. Gustafsson, I don't think you have to worry about switching teams, but maybe you do. Vasilevsky's a 93 overall. He's the clear starter. They have Bobrovsky as the backup, so they don't really need you. They could use a defenseman, though, and who's that defenseman going to be? It's going to be Jonas Brodin. So Tampa has got their final pickups. They're ready for the final now. Now, before we get to the final, there's 2 more things we have to do. 1, we have to figure out which team is going to be completing the final heist. And 2, we should probably take a quick look at both of these teams. So first, let's go ahead and figure out which team is going to be completing the final heist, and that's going to be the Dallas Stars. So the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to be defending, and they're going to be defending with a pretty elite team. So this is what the Dallas Stars team is going to be looking like, and you might be wondering, why is Robert Thomas on the first line? Well, these are the head coach preferred lines, and clearly the coach knows puck. He wants Robert Thomas on the first line alongside Panarin and Mikko Rantanen. I am cheering for the Dallas Stars now. We are Dallas Stars fans right now because we want to see Robert Thomas win NHL Heist. Of course, Connor Hellebuyck's going to be the starting goaltender. Shesterkin's the backup. They got themselves a pretty solid tandem. But the real question is, can they stop this offense? I don't think they can. Nathan MacKinnon, Kaprizov, Kucherov, Braden Point, Barkov, Jake Getzel, Brandon Hagel, Celebrini, Bjorkstrand. This is an elite team from top to bottom. Even the defense is really solid. This is going to be a very tough team to beat. Vasilevsky's going to be in the pipes. Of course, he's going to be the starting goaltender. I think the offense from the Tampa Bay Lightning is going to be settling this one, and specifically the top 6. If Tampa's top 6 can dominate, they're going to beat Dallas pretty easily. However, if Nathan MacKinnon, Kucherov, Kaprizov, Jake Getzel, Barkov, or Brain Point falter in any way, they're going to be losing to Dallas. So here we go. It's the final game, the most important one. The Dallas Stars taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The winner of this is going to be taking home the NHL Heist title. And who is it going to be? Well, the Dallas Stars are picking up the first goal of the game, and it's coming from Jamie Benn. Moving into the second period, Dallas would have a 3-0 lead at one point, but Tampa's slowly making the comeback. They've made it a 1-goal game entering the third period. This game is far from over, but this Vince Dunn goal might end up being the difference maker. And you know what? They might not even need that Vince Dunn goal, because the Dallas Stars are going to lock in back-to-back goals in the third period. They're going to dominate this one 6-2, and just like that, they're going to complete the final heist. They're going to take down the Tampa Bay Lightning, steal their logo, and win the NHL Heist title. They're the final team standing. They made it through 5 straight rounds of heists and came out as the champs. Now, our final two teams were both involved in 5 heists. They were 4-0 up until this point, but in the most important game, when the lights were the brightest, the Dallas Stars are going to complete one more heist, taking down the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they're going to be our last team standing.